Hi everyone, this is the Outdoor Tech Trek guy bringing you another review. This time we're going to be looking at the Garmin Extrex 35 handheld GPS unit. Now this is going to be a two-part review. Part one is going to be going through the initial setup of the unit, explaining some of the physical features of the unit, and I'm then going to set up for first time use, go through all the menus with you and explain what they are. We'll go through some of the technology. Second part of the review will be Garmin Basecamp, and I'll do that in a week or 2 weeks time, and then with that I'll show you how to use Garmin Basecamp, how to set up Basecamp, transfer GPX files, create new routes, plot waypoints, which is going to be a useful review. Garmin Basecamp is written by Garmin themselves. It's a freely available download from their website, which really is a good bit of software. It just takes getting to know a little bit. Once you've done that, once you've mastered it, it makes the unit very, very powerful and very useful. So yeah, two parts of the review. What I've done is taken high resolution images, and they're going to be on my YouTube channel at the end of this review. So then you've got the opportunity to actually look at the unit itself and sort of look at the different bits and sort of have a look at some decent pictures, close-up pictures. So the unit itself is IPX7 waterproof. IPX7 gives you half an hour up to 1 meter fully immersed in water. Very useful and actually required really, because you're going to be using this in all sorts of environments. Physically the unit has only one button. Right, so as I was mentioning, one physical button there which turns the unit on and off, and actually pressing it once again goes into one of the setup options. So turning the unit onto the back, if I pull up this plastic cover here, you can see the mini USB port, which allows you to connect this unit to your PC and use it with Garmin Basecamp to transfer maps, pictures, etc. So that's one of the connectivity options. It does come with Bluetooth 3.0. Now you can use that Bluetooth to pair it with your Android or iPhone device and actually get notifications for missed calls, etc. But I'll go through that in the second part of the review when I discuss Basecamp. So very good connectivity options there. Top marks to Garmin. So as again I said, it's IPX7 waterproof, so you've got a good little plastic lug here which presses sort of deep into that, so no issues there. Two AA batteries and a micro SD card slot at the bottom, supports up to 64 gigabytes. This particular card in there is whole of the UK up to 25 and 10 scale, so high resolution maps. I purchased whole of the UK. That's an expensive map which will cost you about £150 to £200. The maps are, the unit comes with base world maps. Now what it is just a very high level overview. I'll go into that when I discuss again later on, but it does come with just base maps. So to make it really useful, you do need to purchase extra maps. So to get the micro SD card out, you just flip that forward, move that out, and the card comes out. Put it back in, just make sure you line that up properly, press that down and pull it forward. Comes with two AA batteries, and it does take rechargeable lithium ion or alkaline batteries, and you can tell the unit what type of batteries there are. I'll go through that in the setup with you and explain how to change that. Now I've got the batteries in, and once the batteries are in, you can put the actual back cover on, just line it up like so at the bottom and plug that in, push it down and actually turn that notch. Once you turn that, it seals it into position, press that down. It comes with a carabiner clip, and a carabiner clip actually goes in the back of the battery cover there like so and slot straight up, so you can clip that onto your bag or wherever you want to clip it. Really, it's very good quality, and it gives you good carrying options there. So to turn the unit on, it's press the button on the side just there, hold it down for a couple of seconds, and it powers the unit up. It'll take up to 30 seconds or a minute to power back up, so it'll come back as soon as it's powered on. Right, that's the unit powered back up. So once the unit is on, you'll be able to see the battery status on top there, and that status is your GPS reception. because I've used the unit before. When you initially power it up, you might not get this screen. You'll get a welcome kind of a wizard. But I'll go through the different setup options with you now anyway. So one of the first things you're going to want to do is, when you get the unit, is go into, press that again on the side, is to go into the setup. Now once you're in the setup, one of the first things you want to do is go into system. Now in system, you've got the various different system properties. One of the most important ones is satellite. Now once you're in satellite, you want to make sure that that is actually set to GPS. Now once it's set to GPS, this option here, WAS and EGNOS, should be turned on. Now you may ask, I think, what is WAS and EGNOS? I'm just going to refer to some of my notes and I'll explain what the differences are. Right. WAS and EGNOS. What is WAS and EGNOS? WAS and EGNOS are a series of satellite systems and ground stations that provide GPS corrections. WAS is only used in North America. Basically what it is that you've got a series of satellites orbiting the Earth, and they lock onto the GPS system, the device itself, and that tells you where the device is in the world. Now to correct errors, WAS and EGNOS use a series of base stations to actually look at the errors and actually correct the errors. And as I mentioned, WAS is actually used in only North America. So what we want, WAS and EGNOS, you can leave it on. EGNOS stands for Euro Geostationary Navigation Overlay Service. Now that's a bit of a mouthful. Basically EGNOS is the European version of WAS, so it's very useful to leave that feature on because you're going to get very good accuracy. Now this particular unit supports, if we go back into satellite, I would leave it, on GPS and GLONASS. Now GLONASS is the Russian system, and that was finished, the development on that was finished in 2010. The GPS is the traditional GPS system launched by the Americans. GLONASS came in afterwards. So that's GLONASS is 24 satellites, and that, as I said, was finished in 2010. And the traditional GPS system launched by the Americans, that's 31 GPS satellites. So to leave both of them on is very good because you can get a high degree of accuracy. So this unit is actually very, very good in terms of accuracy. You can use it all over the world. It'll support all the standards. You've got the Russian standard on here, you've got GLONASS, you've got GPS. So I will definitely leave the setup on GPS and GLONASS, leave WAS and EGNOS turned on. So that's one of the first things I do. You've obviously got language, it's got set on English. USB mode, mass storage, it will give you access to the memory card. When you plug it in, it will appear as a removable device. You can change that or change it to Garmin. Garmin will just give you using Garmin Basecamp. I normally leave it on USB mode and that kind of works okay. Mass storage. Battery type, you got supports lithium, alkaline, NiMH, rechargeable batteries. Essentially this is telling the unit what type of battery to expect, and then the software will work a little better in terms of reporting for your battery utilization. So get that back, that's important to do. Classic mode, you can have classic setup, and I'll go through the different bits and pieces later on. And it basically essentially changes the screen, the main default menu, from a classic cut down menu to more of an advanced menu. So that's that done, that system. You go into display, you can change the backlight timeout, screen capture. So if you turn screen capture on, when you hold down the power button, you can actually capture what you're seeing on the screen. Battery save, you can turn that on, it dims the screen, it changes the timeout for the light, etc., and it gives it a bit more optimization to save battery. Appearance, various different bits and pieces in there really to just suit your color preferences really. day color, night color. You can leave it on auto. I normally just leave it on auto, so at night time the colors are a bit more bolder and brighter, so you can see a bit more clearly really. Bluetooth allows you to pair it up with your mobile phone. Again, the support only works with Android and Apple iOS, and it gives you notifications on your phone. So if you put your phone away, the weather's bad, you know, you don't want to be carrying two devices in your hand. It's very, very good because you can get missed call notifications on the screen. You can get notifications of text messages, etc. So very good, and some software available from Garmin's website to allow you to install that on your phone and pair up this device with your mobile. So that's good to know about. Map. Now this is very, very important. What you want to do is you want to configure maps, and depending on what map you have installed in your SD card, you'll have various different options here. Now at the moment, this map that I have in here is comprehensive for the UK. As you can see, I've got the worldwide base map turned off because I don't really need that. I've previously had Topo maps in here. I've had Garmin Topo East, you've got East England, North England. So this map I've got in here is quite comprehensive. It's got a lot of different maps on it. I'm only going to turn on and off what I need. And the only reason why you see this on here is the maps on here are actually either pre-installed or I've got them on my micro SD card. Otherwise you wouldn't have seen any of these options. We've also got Garmin Bird's Eye Select version 2. Now Garmin Bird's Eye Select is very, very useful in giving you high resolution images. Actually installed on here, what you can do in Garmin Basecamp, you can select the particular area that you want, that you're going to be visiting, that you want the maps on. You can draw a grid on Garmin Basecamp. You can pay £20 up to, I think it's 2,000 square kilometers. I need to check that just to verify the exact area, but you can pay per area. So if you know you're going to be in Scotland somewhere, Ben Nevis, and you only want a map, high resolution maps of that particular area, you can actually plot your map in Garmin Basecamp and actually go in, pay for that particular area, transfer it onto here, and then just turn that on, and it will give you Garmin Basecamp. And when you're in that area, it will give you high detailed graphics up to 10K, and also pictures if included. So that's quite a good value for money if you need to use that and you don't want to buy expensive maps. So that's what Garmin Bird's Eye Select is essentially. Gives you an area that you've selected and paid for really, so you can go back on that one. And in the advanced setup, you got your different sort of advanced settings really. You got your map speed, you can leave it on fast and normal. That just changes the maps. If you're going to be running, then obviously I'd leave it on fast. If you're normal trail walking, etc., just leave it on normal really. And your guidance text, every now and again, if you're going off route, if there's some notifications, you can either leave that turned off, etc. I always leave it on when navigating. Text size, again, your map points, if you want them small. Again, you can play around with this really and just see how you want it set up for your unit. So that's some of the setup really. And what we'll do is I'll go through map. I've just gone through. I'll go through routing with you. In routing, you got your various different activities that you want it set up for. As at the moment, I've got it set up for hiking, calculation method, minimize time, minimize distance, minimize ascent, and actually prompted. I normally leave that on minimize time. Again, you can play around with that. Lock on road, I normally leave that off because it will look for locking onto a road on the map, and because I've been using out and about on trails in the forest, I've not really used lock on road. You can use that also because you can actually use this for navigation on the roads as well, so you can get that depending on the maps that you've actually bought. So we go back and I'm going to go through some of the other options with you. Tones, always leave that on. Warning beeps, proximity alarms are actually a very good one to always leave on. So if you're going to be going off somewhere dangerous, if you're going off the trail, you obviously got cliff edges. If you're hiking, you're going up a mountain, so always leave some of the alarms on. It's quite good. It works really well, especially if you're going to be walking into bad weather and you're on a steep sort of ledge somewhere near sort of quite high up, that's always worth leaving your proximity alarms on. And one of the other options you're going to want to go into is heading. Now in heading you've got display directional letters, numeric degrees and miles. So it's essentially your heading. You're working towards what direction, how you want it displayed. I normally leave mine on numeric degrees. True north reference, that's magnetic true north. Grid and user, I always personally leave it on true. So wherever I'm heading, I'm actually looking at, it will point to true north. And compass, always leave that on auto. You've got an option to actually go in and calibrate your compass, which will essentially, you need to do this by the way first time when you get the unit out of the box. You do need to calibrate the compass. So if you click on start, it will go through a series of turn it around several times, flip it upside down. It will talk you sort of, it will go through the setup. I won't go through it now because I've already calibrated mine, so it's important to calibrate the compass. And one of the other things we want to do now is to, you got a built-in altimeter. Sorry, I pronounced that right. Altimeter. Basically shows you your height. And auto calibration, I always leave that on once because it calibrates every time you actually turn it on. It will know where you are in terms of elevation. Barometer, useful for weather. I always leave it on variable elevation. And so you want to calibrate the altimeter. I won't do that at the moment because I'm not, when you're outdoors you should always calibrate your altimeter first time. And geocaching, I don't really use that personally, so I won't go into it. And you've also got options of ant sensors. Now you can buy various different sensors from Garmin. You can plug a heart rate monitor on here. That's a strap they actually come with. I've used to use that previously with a Garmin watch. From what I can recall, their sensors are pretty good. It's essentially another technology to connect devices to this GPS unit. If you've got a heart rate monitor and it's something you want to keep on top and check, you can do that. You've got your bike speed sensors. So you can actually get a bike mount for this unit and actually use it as a navigation system on your bike, and you can get the sensor so you can detect the speed that you're going on your bike, etc. That's very good. And condense sensor, I believe that's a pod that you can actually put to your actually clip on your shoes, so it'll give you the number of steps that you're walking, etc, etc. You also got a very good temperature sensor that Garmin do. I've actually used that in the past. It's very accurate. So you know, when you're outdoors and you want to sort of, obviously it will give you a good idea of your outdoor temperature really. So it's very handy to kind of see what the real temperature is really. If you're, you know, if you're on a multi-day hike, or if you're out and about for a long period of time, so you can kind of plan. You know, if you're feeling hot, yeah, you can kind of see why, and sort of kind of, you know, just have a look and see, keep an eye on temperature really. So that works quite well. So that's the ant sensors on there. Again, going back to the main menu. Well, now we're in the main menu, I'm just going to give you some a bit of a brief overview on how to actually look at installed waypoints on here, or installed GPX files, and actually look at different routes, and actually look at planning where you want to go, and I'll go through some of this and really show you how it works. Right, we're back on the main menu. One of the things, useful things to know about is this satellite icon here. So if you go into that, it'll actually show you your current accuracy. Depending on, at the moment I'm indoors, so it's not that accurate. I mean, you can get down to 3 foot depending on sort of the number of satellites that it's locked onto. So it's a good idea to have a quick look at that if you think, you know, it's not picking up where it should be, or, you know, the maps, it's not locking onto the map that you have installed. It's always worth having a quick look in satellite. And again, you'll have the reception up on here. Now at the moment I've put in my favorite, I've set up my menu and I've customized it to what I want on the main screen. So one of the things I have is map, shows you your current position that you're on, where it's locked onto, where to, if you want to find a particular point. At the moment it's currently navigating to Trekfest Brecon Beacons, which is a GPX file I had in there because I did the Brecon Beacons 100 recently. So if I want to stop the navigation, again if I want to go back into where to, you can see various different options here. Recent finds, if you've been somewhere, recent waypoints, if you've been to a particular waypoint, a track. Now we'll talk about tracks when I go into the second part of the review with Garmin Basecamp. You can essentially plan a route on Garmin Basecamp, plot your tracks, transfer it to the unit, go into tracks and actually look at some of the ones that you already transferred. So what I'll do is I'll quickly go into there and show you one of the routes that's already in there, one of the tracks should I say. So I've got Trekfest Brecons 100, which is a 100k trek that I did recently. So you go in there and actually at the moment you can see this blue line because I've set up my tracks to show in blue. So it shows you the whole track which is plotted in here. So it's very good, providing you do actually have the maps in here for that particular area. And as I said, I've got a whole of the UK up to 1 to 10k. So what I can do is I can zoom in here and it shows you very, very good detail because I've got 1 to 10 in here, and it shows the whole of the different waypoints and the track that's actually already been planned in here. Now this is very useful if you're doing an event, if you're planning something offline. Once you've transferred it, you can actually then look at the track and actually go through and in your mind have a look at how the actual route's going to be and what the surroundings are. So very good for planning, and you know, it's a good feature to transfer tracks. It's very easy to do, and again we'll go through that when I do the review on Basecamp. So I go back in here, again gives you a bit of an overview of the whole track. Go back again and I've got various other tracks in here. So what I can do is click on that and let me go back, and oh yeah, actually it's fine because I haven't actually started the track. So after track you got different routes in here that you can plan using Garmin Basecamp. Geocaches I don't really use. Coordinates, you can put in a particular coordinate and go to a place on the map, again providing you got your map in here that covers the area. Points of interest, very good. Hopefully that will load up in a second. Depending on where you are in your local area, it will bring up loads of different points of interest, sort of food places, places of worship, airports, etc. So you can go in there, and it's pretty useful really if you're in a particular area and you're looking for, you know, a waypoint, a particular point of interest. You can actually look that up. It works quite well. Again, they keep getting up-to-date maps, so you'll have to sort of, if you want, every now and again connect it to Garmin Basecamp and update your maps. You can put in a particular address. It doesn't do postcode search. You can do country, put that in, and then actually I think you can get down to road name. And you can go in there. Shopping, I think, looks up again your different points of interest, you know, if you want groceries, etc. So it's quite good. Like, it's not as good as TomTom if you want to actually, it's not used as a road navigation system, but yeah, it does, it's pretty good for a GPS unit which is essentially just geared more for outdoor trekking. It does have a whole load of other useful features for general GPS as well. Again, you got your accuracy, I think, current activity, sorry, should I say. The current activity is actually what's planned and set ready to go. Your altimeter shows you your current elevation and your total ascents that you actually done on the route that's actually started. So if you just want to plot a track, you know, you're just out for a walk and you're not doing a route, you can actually go in current activity and you can actually then track that and actually turn that on. Sorry, go into altimeter and actually do start, and it will track your altitude as well if you just want to just track that. You've also got a compass, very useful. Obviously no GPS unit will be sort of complete without a half decent compass. You click on start and actually it will track your compass position and your heading as you're going along, and you can track that and transfer that back to Garmin Basecamp and have a look at your compass activity. Didn't stop that. Now, any other useful features really, I think I explained where go to was and all the different options in here. Your active route, there's no current active routes in there. Sight and go is a very useful one. You can actually point this in a particular direction, and you can actually do lock direction. So depending on wherever you are, if you point your unit in a particular direction, do lock direction, wherever you're going, it will actually point the compass to keep you on that heading for that particular direction. So very, very useful. And what else is in there really? Apart from that, I think I've gone through most of useful features. Trip computer, I use that often. Very good. So when you're starting either a trek or a trip, you can actually go in there and actually do start. If you're starting a trek that you already put in there, this will start your trip computer anyway, because you've actually put in a particular map, sort of coordinate, series of coordinates, and you started when you actually start your trek. But apart from that, if you're not doing that and you just want to have a look at your trip, you can actually initiate that manually, go in there and actually do start, and what it does is it gives you your GPS accuracy, distance to next destination. Again, if you put a particular track in there, it will track your distance to the destination for the next waypoint, moving time, your barometer. You can actually go and edit this and actually then put in various different options that you want on your trip computer. So you can go into setup trip computer, and you can actually go in there and delete and add different things that you want. For example, if I wanted to get rid of my barometer, I can actually do delete. And actually, let me go back there and all categories. Oops, I got lost a bit. Go back again, go into trip computer, and actually at the moment I think it's reset itself, so I can go in there, click on that and actually do set up trip computer. So at the moment I've got nothing in there because I think I reset it. So what I can do is set up trip computer and add something. Sorry, click on the plus on top there, I think. Let me go back in there. What am I doing? Sorry, I was back in there. So what you need to do is click on one of these. So what you can do is select a data field for your category. So you've got various different things you can actually add on your trip computer. Say for example, I want trip data. For example, I can do my total ascent. I'll add that. Go into the next one. For example, I may want to add to my trip computer ETA to next destination point. Go in there again. One of the other useful things to do is navigation, your maybe distance to your destination, total. So as you can see, I think you've got an idea of, you can go in there and literally you've got a very, very good flexibility of adding various different options in there for your trip computer. So you can personalize it for yourself depending on what you really want to record or measure on your trip. So again, very good. To conclude, bit of sort of to kind of finish the overview of the unit itself, I would say it's very flexible. It's worked very well. The GPS accuracy up in the forest. I've been out in Scotland, I've been to the Brecon Beacons, I've taken this to Wales, all over the UK. It's never let me down. I've never been in a situation where it's lost GPS reception. Again, you've got the WAS and EGNOS, you've got the Russian system based with a traditional GPS system. So it does lock on to satellites very well. Once it's got a lock, it sort of holds on to it very well. So in total, in all, I'd say no issues with the GPS reception. Battery life on it is very good. I've used it with rechargeable batteries and normal alkaline batteries. What you should do is set up your power management so the screen goes off when it's not being used. Don't always leave it on, obviously. The batteries, I've had a good set of batteries last me in here 24 hours on constant track, so no issues there with the power management turned on. No issues with waterproof. I have dropped it in a stream of 1 meter, I think, and it was in there for a little while, but I was looking for it, I lost it. So very hard wearing. You can get screen protectors for it. You can get cases for it, but I've never had the need for any of that really. It's quite rugged plastic, decent carabiner clip. I always hook it onto my bag. What else to mention really? I mean, as I said, screen's pretty responsive. It's quite bright. You can read it outdoors. Direct sunlight, I've had no issues. And really, to be honest with you, I mean, it's quite intuitive with the icons. You need to get to, with every satellite system, with every GPS system, you need to learn it. But I would say it's a very good unit. It's small, it's compact, it's easy sort of store. It's not very much weight to carry. Essentially, it's a good bit of essential equipment, really, if you're an outdoor person. It would help you. I mean, I know it's always good to know your maps manually and know how to use a compass, but a unit like this can sort of really help you, especially when the weather's really bad. You don't know where you are, and it gives you a quick fix. It really complements the traditional maps really well. What else really? I'm gonna do the second part of the review hopefully next week or two, and I'll go through Garmin Basecamp. I'll show you how to transfer maps, create your own routes, etc. And we'll go through that. So thank you for watching. I hope you find it useful. Thumbs up, hopefully subscribe to my channel, and lots more reviews and things like that coming up. If you want to ask any questions, you're not sure, drop me a message and I'll come back to you. So I'm happy to sort of I'll try to keep up to date with my channel, look at what people are saying, so I'll kind of respond. So normally a couple of days I'll come back to you. Thanks a lot. Speak to you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.